Hello, everyone. Welcome to this July wrap up. I didn't know what to film this week, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? And since it's the end of the month and you're seeing this on the 31st, I thought it was going to be a good way to explain and to tell you a little bit how this first month as a creative business owner went. Let's be real. It didn't go as good as I thought it would, mostly in the business part, because creativity wise, I was on fire. I basically didn't stop, not a single second of my days. I wrote many words, and later I'm gonna give you the word count. I finished a book, and I'm actually in the midst of finishing another. They are romance, so they are quite fast to write because they are around 60,000, 50,000 words. But it doesn't mean it's not an accomplishment. I have this thing that when I write or when an idea comes to my mind, I go in hyperfixation mode and I have to write it and write it and write it until it's out of my mind. Yes, like to free space. And it happened because I feel this month I didn't reach the amount of clients that I would have wanted. Basically, I had none. But I'm really struggling a bit to get to my audience. It's playing a little bit with my head because last year, this same period, I had 4 clients and now I have none. And I know freelancing is a roller coaster, but I thought that after a year of working my ass off with the book studio, I would have gotten like more clients. I'm a little bit disappointed, a little bit frustrated because I feel I could really help a lot of authors, but I feel that I am not reaching them properly. So yeah, that was my month business. Like, didn't work out as good as I wanted, and I know it will come around, but when you have just made the leap and it's not working, it's a little bit of a disappointment. But overall, the entire month was really good. I spent a lot of time writing, creating, making videos. I made 5 videos. Actually, something that it's really fun to do for me. It's not that much of a work. I'm having a lot of fun, and I like to keep you updated. What happened this month beside business not going good and writing a lot is that I read and listened to music. I went to the beach. My boyfriend and his father built pergola. We have finally the bedroom done. I changed my residency, so there are a lot of like tiny things that have been good, but like unfortunately my mind keeps going back to the worst part, which is like the financial one, the business side, that it didn't work as much as I thought it could have worked. That's my bad habit, to look just at the bad part. It actually was good. It was a good month of me writing, of me creating, of me trying to get the gist of this new life in a new place. Since I'm a little bit of a witchy, I pulled a card to reflect a little bit on July. I got the Knight of Swords. So when I saw this card, I didn't really know what to think, but then I processed it, went into finding out what I needed to get from this card. What I did find out is that the Knight of Swords holds a fierce mental energy, and I was possessed by creative mission of creating. And what this card told me is that during the month of July, I follow my passion fiercely. I overlook a little bit the business side, and this is because this card shows how self-centered I was in my creativity. What I have to learn from this is how to merge the two parts and make them work together, and how can I use my creative writing as part of my business ecosystem. That is something that I want to really work on this August, and I feel it could be really helpful. But as we all know, my main goal is to be a full-time author. If you're not supporting me with my business, please go and support me with my books. That's the only thing I'm asking. And then the other thing that I learned, these cards hold a prophecy. So the prophecy of me wanting to be a full-time author. It's like The Knight of Swords is like me running towards my desire to be a full-time author. During the month of August, I want to work on my website. So basically this month was creativity. But beside that, I want to share with you some of the things that I love during the month of July. Go with that. Firstly, my books, the books that I read during the month of July. I read 3 books. I'm definitely in my romance era. You can see it from the books that I'm writing because they're all romances, and by the author that I've read. The first book that I read is Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. She's a fellow Italian, and I have to say that I discovered Ali a couple of months ago with Bride, and I was laughing the entire time because I think she's so funny. She has a humor really similar to mine, and some of the comebacks, some of the banter between the characters was so fun. I loved Rue and Eli. I loved how Rue was portrayed. I never consider myself like a science girly. I'm more like a creative girly. So reading about women in STEM, it's really fun and it's really educational. And then the second book, because it's in the same like series, because we have Eli and we have Maya, which is a sister, problematic summer romance, age gap, set in Taormina in Sicily. I loved it. I became quite nostalgic of Italy while reading this. I love the book. And then I read Done and Dusted. It's my first cowboy romance. I have to say, I lived in the States 2 years, and I lived in Madison, Wisconsin. And I road trip to Wyoming. It reminded me all the time that I spent in the States of those places in the States that I actually loved. I didn't quite like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, all the cities, but when we road tripped from Wisconsin to Yellowstone, and our car broke down in Wyoming. Yes, we broke down in Wyoming. I don't know. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. So this book kind of reminded me that I loved it. It inspired me to write surfer and cowboy with a new story just line up in my head, which is crazy. The thing is that when I write and when I read, it really helps my creativity and fuels my creativity. For example, I thought, how can I write a cowboy romance when my main books, like the books that the Elenaverse or Eleverse, it's basically around European vibes, lots of traveling, while cowboy is more like usually set in a small town. Other things that I loved during the month of July, I love music, and I'm recommending 2 albums. One is a movie too. It's K-pop Demon Hunters. I loved it. I loved it so much. I've been listening to those songs. I just loved it. The second album, I don't think many of you know it. If you're Italian, probably yes, but if you're not, you won't. It's called Mediterraneo by Brescia. Is an Italian singer, and it just put out this album and it's just amazing. I put a lot of those songs into the playlist of Sofia and Ilias' book. So if you are keen to listen to Italian music, I do suggest Brescia as a singer that you could easily listen to. I actually counted how many words I've written. I wrote 100,000 words, which is one finished book of 63,000, and another one which is almost to the end. I think I'm now at a third act, and it's around 39,000 words. Then I finished editing The Healer, which is a book that's already out. You know it. I was dealing with the editing and now it's out. I launched the new cover. It's this one, and it's gonna be out on September 1st. This month was a lot of creativity, was a lot of like writing. So this was July's wrap up. Thank you so much for being here this entire month of YouTube. Thank you for subscribing. Always, please go and subscribe. It will mean the world to me. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok for updates on the new books coming, because new releases are coming, and both in the fantasy Elenaverse and in the contemporary Elenaverse. So please follow along this journey if you want to support me. Thank you so much.